Well, I'm out of here. Night, Harry.
He's moody.
It's time for another episode of Romeroween.
But in death, that's not an option. Your life is already behind you. Now you're everywhere. And you're nowhere.
Here we are at long last to the final episode of Romeroween. In this episode, we're going to tackle a movie called A Fish Story. I guess the logical question would be, how did Romero become involved with a family film that has nothing to do with zombies? That would be because of director Matt Bierman. The two of them met while they were both working on the film Land of the Dead. Romero liked Bierman so much he would go on to make cameos in both Diary of the Dead and Survival of the Dead. In 2013, Bierman, who was about to direct A Fish Story, asked his longtime friend Romero to make a cameo. Romero, of course, agreed, and that's why we're here. A Fish Story was released on April 27, 2013. It was written by Sam Roberts. No, not that Sam Roberts. Yeah, the other Sam Roberts. And directed, as I stated before, by Matt Bierman. The plot of the movie follows our protagonist, Nick. He is a married man of three with everything going his way. We enter Nick's life at a point where he has quit working and spends all of his free time building a cabin on the lake so that he and his family can fish together. Some people would say that your children are the most important things in your life, and that's true for most people, but for Nick, it's clearly fishing. Look, he obviously loves his family, but for Nick, fishing is probably his mistress. So, on the morning that the cabin is set to be dedicated, Nick is unfortunately killed in a car accident when he swerves out of the way to miss a fleeing criminal. The story picks up 3 months later and we see how the family is coping. Here's a hint, not good. Now might be a good time to address the decapitated zombie head in the room. Is this a Christian movie? The simple answer is no, and I don't think it needs to be. I only managed to find a few reviews for this movie, and they fall into two categories. One being the bad acting category, which is where I fall, and two, the not enough Christian message, which I don't give a shit about at all. The not enough Christian message category throws most of its criticism at the following line.
I never was a religious man, but I always had faith. Faith that I was something more than just another convenient believer.
So, what I'm taking away from this is that you're criticizing Nick because he doesn't follow your narrow view of the world. Am I the only one missing something? You know what? Maybe they're missing something. Rather than looking at this through a Christian's eyes, maybe you should try to understand what the writer of the movie was trying to convey. He's trying to tell a story about redemption that anybody, no matter what they believe, can get behind and understand. What I find most laughable about this review is that this person seems to believe that most people aren't convenient believers. I hate to be the one to tell this person, but most people in the world either have no religion or just have faith. The fact that the reviewer can't understand what Nick is saying doesn't really surprise me. I mean, they go on to criticize the film for having swearing and someone drinking liquor. And that's the problem with the people who did these reviews. They're so hung up on these shitty little nitpicky things, they miss the entire message. Alright, now that I'm done preaching to the choir, what do I really think about the plot of this movie? Well, the daughter actually has a good response.
It sucks. It sucks. It sucks.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I can wholeheartedly admit that this film was not made for people like me, but I just can't let it slide. The minute people start acting, that's where the movie just starts falling apart. They're all really bad actors, save for the daughter, who is the only one who exudes any sort of real emotion. And to be fair, the plot is, as we shall see, pretty goddamn ludicrous. Nick is dead for all intents and purposes, and he doesn't go to heaven. It's some sort of limbo or purgatory. I guess it's self-imposed because he won't let himself go to heaven because he feels like he let his family down. Whatever the case, he reappears shortly after his own funeral like Gandalf the fucking White.
I never was a religious man, but I always had faith. Faith that I was something more than...
What follows is a weird part of the movie where Nick just appears and reappears in front of his family giving narration. But I think the only one that can actually sense him is the daughter. It's not really ever explained. It seems like she can sense his presence, but she never overtly says, "Hey, there's my dad." While all of this is going on, the crook who accidentally killed Nick is staying in the cabin that Nick built. That is until 3 months later when the family decides to get back together and try to be a family once again. And we see in the absence of Nick how dependent this family really was on him, because they fell the fuck apart.
Did you get the real estate flyers sent you?
First to arrive is Jane, Nick's wife, and well, she's a drunk now. She's also taken to having creepy conversations like this.
I am drowning.
Oh, Jane.
We got mashed potatoes, just the way you like them.
With the skins left on.
And corn.
Niblets?
Of course, they're niblets.
When you first see this scene, you think that she is talking to the limboed Nick. But she's not. She's talking to herself. He is talking back to her. She's not even aware that he actually exists. What the fuck?
I guess I better stop talking to myself or they're gonna put me in the loony bin.
The kids show up and the gang is back together.
Did you get the real estate flyer I sent you?
First, we have older brother John, who wants to sell the place to help everyone cope.
Why do we have to work on it if you just want to get rid of it anyway, huh?
Because it'll be worth more when we sell it.
Oh, okay, I see. There it is. Hey, what does a broken dream go for on the market these days anyway?
And that goes about as well as you'd expect.
How could you do this? This was your father's dream. And you think selling it will make it all better?
He's gone. He's dead. Right? It's over. The dream is over.
Please, just leave me alone, all right?
There's not a lot to really say about John. He works in an office, and he's the older brother. He's an extremely bland character.
He's gone. He's dead. Right? It's over. The dream is over.
The next child up is Charlie, the shining spot of this movie. She's the youngest daughter just back from summer school or camp. I don't know, the movie never really says. And she is the best actor in this movie by a mile.
I want you to stay.
I can't, Charlie.
Why?
I just can't. But I will always love you, Charlotte. Okay? Forever and ever.
That was some halfway decent acting for this movie. This was supposedly her first major role, which says a lot about the veteran actors that she is supposedly working with. They couldn't act their way out of a wet paper fucking bag.
He's moody.
The last child we have to unfortunately talk about is Shitstain. I mean, God, he has a name, and unfortunately, it's Billy.
To show him that I could do something with my life, too. You took that away from me, John.
Now, as you can tell, I particularly don't like this character. I find him to be annoying.
I don't care anymore. Is that what you want to hear? I mean, what's the point, Mom?
So that got me thinking, maybe it's time I should finally institute a rule. I'm calling it the Randy rule. Way back in episode 1, when I reviewed Taloglee, there was a character named Randy. Now, in case you didn't see that episode or you don't remember Randy, here is a unfortunate brief reminder of how goddamn annoying he is.
Hey, Danny! Yeah, make this one scary. Hey, Danny! He's back! Hey, Danny!
Yeah, he sucks the big red one. So going forward, any future reviews I do, if I happen to notice a character that reminds me of Randy, I'm tagging them a Randy. And for this movie, I nominate Shit-Stained Billy, because he sucks.
You know what? I thought Dad was dead.
Don't go there.
You're not my father, John!
He spends the entire movie whining and trying to be funny, like this.
It was louder than anything.
Oh, yeah? So louder than this?
God, he's such an overacting little pissant. And I'm not talking about the guy who's acting as him. I'm talking about the actual Billy in the movie. He sucks. Every time he's on screen, it's either whining or attempting to be angry, which he can't do either. I think he's in his 20s, but he's acting like a 16-year-old kid who can't get the car for the fucking weekend. Like, come on. And he does this with everybody, whether it's the funeral person.
What? You're being paid to be sorry.
Hey, Billy, we can do it after.
No!
His mother.
What?
Harry.
Look, it's just... Save it, Harry. Life goes on, time heals all wounds, blah, blah, blah. I've heard it all before.
Or his goddamn brother.
Ah! Isn't that what you want? That we're so weak that we have to turn to you for help.
So there you go. You have found your new Randy, at least for this film, Billy, the shit stain.
Here. Wipe your nose. About to be saved by her baby sister.
Anywho, back to the plot. The family gets back together, blah, 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 blah. The next morning, our useless thief steals a boat, crashes it, and apparently dies. This is where things get weird. He leaves his body and ends up occupying the same space that Nick is in. I thought that Nick was in a self-imposed limbo. How the hell is this guy sharing the same space? Are they connected because one killed the other? I mean, that would be fun if you were murdered by somebody. You'd have to share the same limbo space with them. That sounds fun for an eternity. Well, anyways, Nick is none too happy about the state of his situation, and frankly, he confronts this fucking guy. If it was me, I'd take a ball-peen hammer to his skull and fucking kill him, but he's already dead.
Hey, who are you? You're the guy. You're the guy from the wreck. Yeah, I'm the guy who died. Because of you. And I definitely didn't mean to kill me.
Meanwhile, Nick's kids have heard the explosion and come flying down in their motorboat, and they find this guy dead. While his kids are looking over the body, Nick realizes that this guy is not entirely dead. He urges him to get back into his body and tell his kids that he has met Nick. But the guy refuses. He says, look, my life has been shit, you go in my place. Nick's like, is that allowed? He's like, well, why not? So he does.
Did you see that? You're alive. You're still alive. Quick, get back in your body. You go. What? I can't take your body.
Why not?
We have to help him. How? How are we gonna...
Which I just find amazing. How the hell is Nick able to take over somebody else's body? Does it work if it's a child's body or if it's a woman's? Do the rules still apply? If we're gonna follow the rules of this movie, can Nick just inhabit any body? So if that's true, why doesn't Nick inhabit a fish? That would be a great story. It is called A Fish Story. He could inhabit the body of a dead bass, come swimming up to the water when his family's fishing and be like, hey guys, I'm here. That would be a hell of a fish story, don't you think? Charlie's telling her friends about what happened over the summer. Yeah, my dad died 3 months ago, and instead of going to heaven, he decided to inhabit the body of a fish. More specifically, a bass. It was the bass that he never caught. One summer day, my brothers and I caught said bass. Not realizing it was my father, we accidentally cooked the son of a bitch. So yeah, that was pretty much my fish story. Thank you.
How are we gonna help him, John? Look at him!
Stop being such a baby, Billy, and help us!
Billy. Nick, now in the thief's body, is rescued by his family. Now known as Harry, he lies his way back into being a part of the family.
Hi, what's your name?
Harry. It's Harry. Harry Lewis.
There is one aspect of Nick that bleeds through into Harry, and that's his penchant for telling long, drawn-out, boring-ass stories. Such as...
You know the little
cabin on the island down below the sandbar? He used to let me use the library when I was fishing off his point.
There's a library in his outhouse?
Well, there are books from floor to ceiling.
Or
He had this theory about fishing in heaven, right? He believed that heaven was filled with only the big ones that got away, so that when you got there, you could catch as many as you wanted. I mean, you know, no limit.
And Charlie seems to have gotten this gene from her father because she has the ability to tell boring stories too.
Nope, I call them freshwater wolves.
Wolves, huh?
My dad called them that because they're so big and mean. I never caught one yet, but my dad said that once a pike hits, oh man, it's over. You know why?
Tell me.
Because a pike inhales the bait, just like a vacuum.
The family seems to have no problem in letting a stranger stay in their house for 2 days. They just invite Harry in and don't seem all that concerned that none of them have recognized him from their years of living on the lake. I guess it doesn't matter in the end because Harry takes them fishing, builds a deck for them, and fixes all of their fucked up family problems before his own problem comes back to haunt him. What is that, fucking Spider-Man spider sense? It might as well be Nick's fish sense. But there is a reason for the fish sense to be tingling. It's because Nick is inhabiting the body of a wanted criminal named Eddie Wilkins. When Nick was killed, his best friend Hal was pursuing Eddie. When he arrived at the crash scene, Hal chose to pursue Eddie, leaving Nick alone to die. To be fair, Nick told him to go do it, so it's not entirely his fault, but no one else knows that. But after Nick's untimely death, everything began to fall apart for Hal. He was kicked off the force, his girlfriend broke up with him, Nick's family wants nothing to do with him. I guess nobody likes Hal. Hal may not be able to get any love from anyone, but really he is the whole reason that anything in this movie actually happens. After being let go from the force, Hal spends all of his free time trying to track down Nick's killer. Hal discovers Eddie's stolen van and takes some wires out, preventing it from driving. This forces Eddie to steal the motorboat, which eventually kills him and causes Nick and him to switch bodies. So without Hal, none of this would ever happen. So congratulations, Hal, you're a winner.
Got it. Thanks, Phil. Thank you. Thank you. I owe you big time. Thank you.
Ew, he's got stains all over his fucking wife beater. Who filmed this home security footage of this guy? Why do we need this? Hal confirms that Eddie is indeed the guy he is looking for, so he and his fellow Hicks form a posse. Minus one guy?
Well, still in all, that lake's, what, 65 square miles, maybe more.
It's way more.
Hey, what did I tell you?
What? It is.
Hank Jr.
Okay.
I think your mother wants you at home.
How are you gonna...
I'll get a ride. Now go on, get out of here.
No, we can't lose Hank Jr. He's the best character in the movie. He's got to be the only person in Maine with a fucking mohawk. Ugh, man, and I'd really gotten my hopes up that like Hank Jr. and Billy were gonna have a scene together. You know what? No, I'm good. Moving on.
Damn youngsters.
So as we continue on, the plot's about to come to a head. That night, Jane confronts Harry about who he really is. Is he Eddie, or is he Harry?
Eddie Wilkins. Where'd you get these?
I think the gun's a little overkill. I mean, he hasn't really made any overtures yet to kill any of you, considering that he's been there 2 nights, but I guess she's just being cautious. In the end, the situation comes to nothing because Charlie manages to defuse the entire situation by herself.
Tell her, Harry, just tell her! Please, just tell her!
Tell me what, Charlie?
It's not him, Mom. It's Daddy. I really saw him.
But trouble rears its ugly head the next day because Hal has found what he's looking for. Eddie Wilkins.
This isn't a game. Do it now.
Charlie! Charlie! You shot my sister!
No.
Great! You killed her!
What the fuck is wrong with this guy? He just shot the little girl. Is he a complete and utter fucking idiot? In case you're wondering what happened, Hal told this guy that he could open fire when he said the word now. But that was only if Nick refused to cooperate. He was clearly saying now to Nick, not to the fucking guy with the gun. Man, I feel kind of bad for picking on Hank Jr. when clearly Hank Sr. is the fucking moron in the family. Hank Jr., I guess you're A-okay.
Okay.
So the kids and Harry speed away and it's revealed that Sister's okay, and Big Bro says the stupidest thing in the entire movie.
Don't ever let anyone tell you you can't act, little brother! That was incredible!
Oh my Odin's balls, does this guy need a fucking refresher course on how bad Billy was at acting?
What?
Hey, what does a broken dream go for on the market these days anyway?
A little louder than this. What? Hey, Dad? You don't gotta worry about a thing down here. No.
Nick has run out of time, and he's got to say his goodbyes to the family.
You have to go now.
I know. No, you can't.
They'll shoot him. Tell her, Harry.
No, your mother's right. It's time. As long as I stay here, you're all in terrible danger.
Nick can finally cross over, but before he does, he points a finger at Eddie as Hal finds Eddie's corpse. Finally at peace, Nick crosses over, leaving Eddie with no body to return to, and I guess Eddie's stuck in limbo for all time? I'm not really sure. The movie doesn't say. I'm assuming that Eddie is vindicated for letting Nick take over his corpse, but it's never stated. He's not there in heaven when Nick crosses over, so who the fuck knows? We have finally arrived to the final scene of the movie, which also happens to be the George Romero cameo, the reason why I did this stupid review.
Nicholas,
Hey, Dad.
I was wondering when you were gonna get here.
Yeah, me too. So, catch and release?
Yeah, grab that rod. Is this heaven or what?
I'm gonna be honest, I love this cameo. I have no idea why, it just makes me feel good. That big old smile of his, and he just feels so inviting. You know, it really does feel like he's in heaven. Yeah, they're fishing, but if you like fishing, that would be heaven. When George Romero utters the line, "Is this heaven or what?" it just makes this scene feel more special since he's passed on. It is a legitimate question. Is this heaven or not? I think the right answer is yes. Because for the last year, I've talked about one of my major influences and the impact on my life that he's had. So George, wherever you are, I hope the zombie hunting's good, and the fishing's even better.
Ladies and gentlemen, the fire is now officially out.